The purpose here today is to introduce you guys to the Odoo ERP system. So that way, if Odoo is, something that is going to be feasible and is going to be something that will help your business, you are able to go ahead and speak with us more. We're more than happy to set up some type of one-on-one meeting after this webinar. So that way we can really give you a real presentation of Odoo. This is going to be kind of the 40,000 foot level of it. So that way you have a good idea as to what Odoo is capable of. The other portion of this too is that we actually have connectors with both Shopify and ShipStation that do connect to the Odoo product as well. So we want to ensure that you guys are able to see what Shopify and ShipStation and how they integrate here with Odoo as well. So if you look over here, we've got the presentation pulled up. Some real quick things. My name is Niles Kirkaldie. I'm our business development executive here at Confianz. I've been here for a few months now, so just kind of taking over some of these webinars and things like that. I've been in the sales side of things for about 10 years with B2B sales. So come with a lot of experience, but at the same time, still getting my feet wet with some of the things here at Confianz. And then I'll bring it to Adam here.
Thanks, Niles. Adam Grossman. I've been with the company for 3.5 years, been in the customer success space for, 10 sales related for 15 to 20. And Niles is doing a great job. He's caught up. He's a very quick learner, so you're in good hands today. He's going to walk you through Odoo, the connectors, answer all the questions. But we really appreciate you joining and taking the time to spend with us today.
Absolutely.
All right.
So really from there, just kind of the quick agenda. We're going to go through our presentation here. There's going to be a couple short videos that we show you guys as well at certain points as well. And then kind of go over just some big, overarching details like we said before. At the end, we'll do a Q&A. Certainly, though, as I mentioned, we want it to be as interactive as possible. So if at any point you think to yourself, I really want to ask a question, go ahead and throw it in the chat, and we'd be more than happy to answer it for you. So again, one of the folks that was not able to join us here today, so you can kind of see our team, is our VP of Sales, Jason. He's out today, but Jason brings a good 15 years of experience in sales, and is really an intricate part of making sure that when we are selling something, that we go through the best process possible, that we get you guys qualified for what you guys need to do. We're in the business of making sure that anybody that we provide Odoo for is the right fit for Odoo. We don't want you to be.
It's got to be the right fit, or otherwise it doesn't make sense. So we're going to be completely honest with you. And if Odoo's not the right fit, it's not the right fit.
Yeah, I just last week had a client that I was working with, and I really would have loved for them to come on board for Odoo, but Odoo has certain limitations, still, especially for a larger size business. And so sometimes there are companies that you just really doesn't make sense. And that was one of the cases there. So kind of just want to go over Confianz at a glance. So one of the really cool things that I like about us is that Anoop, our CEO, is first generation immigrant and came over here just with the purpose of starting his business. So we have a center in India that's where all of our the back development and everything is going on. We have roughly 60 developers for Odoo right now, and about 115 employees, 112.
Yeah.
So that are all out there, and then all of our stateside stuff is all the sales,
sales, marketing. C-level. But in terms of who to connect to, so I would be the person who works with clients and managing development teams, but it's very easy to communicate with us. So it's email, phone, text, whatever your preferred communication style is.
Exactly. And the whole goal here too is so that way we can take care of everything that you guys need on the time frames that you need, but we still have the development side as well. So we've been in business for about 16 years. We do have 70 plus active clients right now. Big thing that I want to touch on is our retention rate. Pretty much if you set up Odoo with us, you're going to be with us for the long haul because we want to make sure that you're really well taken care of. And it's really important, with an ERP partner, right? Because ERPs are something that are going to run your business for 10, 15 years at a time, right? Maybe longer. And if you have a bad implementation partner or partner that's, taking care of that product for you, it's definitely deficit in the future.
There's a huge level of trust. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the other side of that is that we are a certified Odoo vendor. And then we're also a partner for ShipStation. So if you are, using ShipStation, we are actually the preferred
partner who implements Odoo, ShipStation with Odoo.
Yeah.
So.
And we're one of the few that does have a connector for that as well. So that's, that way, when you're implementing Odoo, it makes it all it's seamless there for you.
Seamless.
Yeah, exactly. So let's kind of talk about how to know whether or not your business is ready for Odoo. So I say 5 signs, but there's probably a few more than that. But these are kind of the big the big bullet points here. So first and foremost is if there's any type of complexity in your business processes. So most of the people that come to us, businesses that are coming to us, first things first, they usually have QuickBooks.
Correct.
And that tends to be where we tend to take things over. So you'll see they'll have QuickBooks for that. They'll have their inventory all through multiple different Excel spreadsheets.
Right.
Yeah.
There's multiple pieces. Nothing's talking to each other.
Right. And it's all stuff that's not interconnected with one another, right?
Correct.
So we'll see somebody that has like a separate CRM, maybe they have HubSpot, and all of these things are just kind of not integrated with one another. And when they don't have that communication piece, there's no reporting between the two. You're having to do a lot of manual entry.
A lot of manual. There's no efficiency and things get missed.
Yeah. And I mean, and you're only as good as your employee that can have their hands on it at the time, right? So if they miss a CSV file, then now all of a sudden you can't see everything in your accounting side. It's really important to make sure that you have the people that need that, there and available.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of it is being able to access real-time data. So, when I put something in our CRM, right, and it goes through the sales process, at the very end of that, our team can see on the accounting side what happened, with that. We can also see what our sales goals look like for this quarter, how we're comparing to the sales goals. All of that is something that's really, really intricate and really needs to be there. And the more that you have in one place, the more it's easier for you to see those things. I've worked places where you have, I don't know if you have too, Adam, where they'll have like 6 different BI reports.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we are.
Yeah. And then
it's not fun.
Exactly. And you're going to all these different places where you're trying to see all these different products or see all of your different results. And the more places that you have to go, the more things are being missed.
Yeah, better visibility,
Absolutely.
Better accountability too.
Exactly. And I think the biggest strength for Odoo is its scalability. So a lot of times what we'll see is, people are coming to us and they're kind of on the smaller side, right? So they maybe need the CRM and they need accounting, right? And have those things taken care of. The basics, maybe inventory, but, over time, maybe they're manufacturing things. They want to have the manufacturing side, added. If you get, big enough where HR is needed, that's something that can be handled all through there as well.
Basically handles every aspect of your business.
Yeah.
There's a module. So it's very flexible, but it's not, you don't have to have everything and you don't have to be overwhelmed. It keeps it simple as well.
Exactly. And one of the things that I love is that you can start small.
Yep.
So if, say, for example, your business only has need for a couple modules, we do that for you, right? We start with the modules that you need. And as time goes on and as you grow, we can add those parts and pieces in that maybe you need later down the road. The other side of it too is that, especially as a person that's coming from the sales side and Adam too, your CRM is really important, right? And being able to move things through the stages, know where you're at on your pipeline, is all really important. And it's good for other people within the company to be able to have that visibility within it too, and reports and all of that. So I think that the CRM does a really great job of integrating the things that you would get from a big out of like a big box like Salesforce or something of that nature, but still has the the connection to the other applications that you would need. And the biggest thing is operational inefficiencies and cost concerns, right? Mm-hmm. It costs money to have your folks doing things that are important. And every single time that there's something that's missed or there's something that can be missed because of those inefficiencies, it's not a good thing for your business, right?
True.
So kind of going from there, those are kind of the big points there, on our side here.
So if this like rings any bells, like, if you have any questions at this point, you can put it in the chat. If not, then we could just move on to the next piece.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like we don't have anything.
So we'll just move on.
Oh, we've got Kelly is raising her hand.
Okay.
Kelly, go ahead and drop your question in the chat. I'll be more than happy to answer it for you.
Yeah, I didn't see anything come through.
Yeah, Kelly, we haven't gotten anything come through yet. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and
we'll move on.
Yeah, we'll move forward, and if anything pops up in the chat, we'll go ahead and answer your question there, Kelly. So feel free to drop it in there as things go. So the next thing that I really want to cover is kind of just some of the big challenges that a lot of our clients come to us with.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing that we see is disparate systems. So they have a lot of different moving parts and pieces. They don't communicate with one another, and because of that, they're looking for something that is a solution for all of the facets of their business. Mm-hmm. And kind of like we talked about before, those are the things that cause inefficiency within your business, and really cause major setbacks as well, and kind of keep you from growing. I know, Adam, I know you work with a lot of our current clients.
Yeah, ShipStation just makes it seamless because they don't have to worry about the communications from one system to another, tracking numbers, costs, markups. It's all taken care of within Odoo, within ShipStation. So, you have visibility and you control it, as opposed to, having to like go out and go to like FedEx.com or UPS. So everything's just right there. And it's really makes it a lot easier and convenient and efficient. So yeah, people love using ShipStation. They swear by it. So
absolutely. And I mean, one of the things that's really nice is, a lot of people have inventory to manage, right? So I think the biggest benefit, is not only can you kind of track your inventory, while it's there, but in addition to that, you can also, print barcodes. You can, move everything over to ShipStation, so that way you're watching it, the tracking aspect of it too. So all of that kind of gets handled all in one place.
Niles, hold on. Kelly, thank you for sending that in. Yeah, I'm sorry that the chat is disabled. I'm not sure why. So Kelly was asking, who is this software meant for? Size of company, typical integrations. We are on Sage 300 right now, but looking to upgrade to a system that can support more complexity. Thanks. Great questions.
Yeah, those are great questions.
So the size of the company, it's, from a few to, 100. Like it really depends, because not everybody in the organization might need a license to use Odoo. It depends on the industry and what you're doing and how many people need to actually touch, let's say, sales or accounting or
absolutely
inventory or shipping. Or so it's a tough, I can't say it's like a one thing. It can fit any size company basically.
Yeah.
And then the integrations, it's again, that goes on what you're selling. What platform are you using? Amazon? Are you selling to are you B2B or you B2C? So
yeah,
I can't answer, it's not one size, so it's more of a, we could take this offline and have a conversation, but
yeah,
we could, but those are great questions. Sage is a good system. But you know, I would love to know where Sage is not meeting your needs right now. So
Right, absolutely. And Sage is a great product, but I will say, we're a partner for both Odoo and Acumatica, and we see a lot of people come over.
we just moved a client from Sage to Odoo.
Yeah, so we see a lot of that transition, and I think one of the biggest things that a lot of complaints that I see for especially Sage 300 is the visibility and reporting, right? So it's a lot of you're not able to see a lot of the reports that you would normally through any type of other ERP, especially Odoo. You have a lot of visibility there, so I think that's where it's going to be a strength for you. Only thing I would say, is if you're using Sage. In particular, that tends to mean that I would imagine you're probably in the construction space. It tends to be pretty common in that space, at least Sage 300. So if that's something that you're in, that's something that I'd probably want to kind of delve deeper into in that.
Yeah, Kelly, what industry or the space that you're in? That might help us also answer the question, or we can wait till the end and go through this and keep going.
Absolutely.
So up to you.
Yeah.
If you're in the retail market, that could probably make sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and feel free to drop any questions over to Adam or myself, and we can answer there.
Our company is TYR Sport Inc. We sell athletic apparel and footwear to B2B and B2C.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's a really, really good fit. That's
a great fit.
Apparel is I would say apparel and manufacturing are like the two
bread and butter
industries for us. We tend to see, a lot of the manufacturing side. I know a lot of
the inventory management piece. So yeah, different variants, things like that. Chat is now enabled, so we can use that. But
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for getting that enabled, guys.
All right. Yeah, so we could hold this. We could, I guess, go back to the presentation.
We can. Yeah, we'll go back to presentation. We can shelve it for a moment. And one of the things I will say, Kelly, is again, we're very open to conversation. So the whole purpose of this is so that way you guys can kind of see things at a high level. And if it sounds like something that's of interest to you, certainly reach out and we can get everything. We can make a one-on-one meeting to go over things with you. So really from there is, why would you choose Odoo as your ERP? These are kind of things that we've covered a little bit, but one of the things that I think is great with Odoo is that it does have, the open source licensing. So essentially when we come into that, you're not seeing cost hikes from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 to year 4. It's really, we're implementing year 1. So there's going to be a higher cost for year 1.
Right.
And then as you go on through the remainder, you're going to see, lower costs for year 2 and beyond. Some of the other, products that we tend to see, like NetSuite and things of that nature,
they entice you with a low first year, but then all of a sudden year 2, 3, 4, and 5, they hit you in the back end.
Yeah, they hit you on the back end on that part, but then essentially, a lot of times you'll have a contract for a set period of time,
right.
And maybe that's 3 to 5 years usually, and then you typically double at that point too. So the cost of running Odoo over the short term is maybe a little higher year 1,
but
over the long haul, you're going to see a huge ROI on that. So, that's really a big aspect of it. And then the other side of it too is the adaptability and scalability, right? So again, kind of going back to a point that we made earlier, if you are a smaller business and you want to, add to your business's utilization and everything like that and make it so that you're more productive, starting small with Odoo is a possibility, and growing larger is down the road is a possibility as well. The other thing that Odoo takes care of, version upgrades as well. So the only thing is that you would need, if we're implementing for you, we do the upgrade, there for you, but
yeah, or customizations. But standard, like, as long as you have an enterprise license, the upgrades included in there. We just, submit the DB, they make sure everything looks good, and they go and upgrade the DB to the new version.
Absolutely. And the biggest, factor for a lot of companies is just being able to consolidate, right? I know for me, there's a whole bunch of companies that we end up seeing that have 17 different licenses to 17 different products, but you're paying for each one of those. So a lot of times, after year one, when you get implemented, you're saving a good amount of money because you're getting rid of, a lot of these systems. You're getting rid of Salesforce, you're getting rid of, QuickBooks. If you,
there's too many to list.
too many to list, but
sure,
but certainly it gets you in that direction. So, I think that the consolidation is really the key aspect, to all of it, and all of it kind of fits in within that consolidation side.
Mm-hmm.
So,
questions, anyone?
Yeah.
No, we'll just, we'll move on. Probably, thinking about things, but we'll probably end up covering a decent amount in the presentation. So.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Looks like we don't have anything currently, but if anything changes, we can go back to it. So let's start off with inventory management. I am actually working with a client right now that this is their what they really need, right? Is they have their company that brings in used thread and makes it into like new spools. So essentially, old clothing, things of that nature. So they have like 33,000 SKUs, and they've got quite a lot that's going on. And so one of the things that's really nice for them is that we are able to go through and listen to their process and, provide them with an inventory management system that is going to really fit their needs. So I think one of the things that Confianz does well, and that, Anoop has really instilled in all of us, is that it's really important to make sure that you understand the business that you're talking to, right? So when I have a conversation, my first initial conversation, I want to build some rapport with folks. And it looks like Kelly did just ask a question.
I was just going to wait for you to finish like that segment. So.
No, you're fine. So, but the whole part of that is going through and making sure that we understand what your business does, right? So our first meeting is about building rapport, understanding your business, seeing where you're coming from, and then bringing developers onto the calls after that. So after we kind of have a little bit of idea, what does your business do? How is your process maybe different than most? And I think that's one of the bigger complexities that we handle. So, can you grab that question?
So the question, great question. Do you handle multiple entities? So several companies on the platform and consolidate from an accounting perspective. It's a great question. And I was just at a client who is, so they have a parent company, and then they have 4 brands, 4 different brands, logos that kind of specialize in different things, but everything does, I guess, from an accounting perspective, it's the parent company, but people will use it for specific brands. So there's basically somewhere in, when you go up to the upper right in Odoo, it's like you go like the company, and then you click on which company, or you click on the parent company to get into the parent perspective. So yes, in my long-winded answer, yes, it does handle multiple entities.
Yeah. So basically, to make a long story short, in a sense, in one Odoo instance, essentially, you can have all of those different companies or entities that are placed underneath.
It's all in one spot, so you're not logging out, logging in. It's all set up.
Absolutely.
So yes. So it does accounting. It does make it easy.
Absolutely. So kind of popping back over to the inventory side. And again, Kelly, thank you for your questions. I really appreciate it. The thing that's great with it is that you're going to have that real-time visibility and control, right? So if you enter a sales order and that order is completed, right, you're going to see an automatic change to what's happening in your inventory. So that way, if you're needing to manufacture something, or if there's, parts and pieces that you need to order, things of that nature to make your final product, you're able to do so.
So that reminds me, so I was at clients, and they have tons of inventory coming in and orders. So there's different stages of the development of it. And there's rules. So, you don't even have to do a physical count. So there's rules in place. When they get to a certain level of a certain inventory piece, it automatically will create a PO and get it ordered. And if you're hooked up through EDI, it'll just automatically get sent to the vendor. So it's almost, you you don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
Which makes it great because there's the efficiencies and, making sure that your inventory is at a good level. So when you get like, big orders in, you don't have to worry about it. So.
exactly. And I think that that's one of the, the big pieces for Odoo is that when you have all of these automated systems set up for you, it does allow you to not worry about certain things that you would normally have to worry about, right?
True.
So, and that's a great side of that too. And that kind of goes into that optimized inventory levels that we've got listed on the slide as well.
Integrated supply chain management.
Yeah. So, I really do think that, for companies that don't have a real inventory management system, Odoo is a really great solution for that. Especially if you're in, the textiles, manufacturing side of things.
Exactly.
So,
and it helps with cost management and knowing, gross profit, gross margin, which is very important, to run a business. So.
Absolutely. And I think the other side of it too is that then you can go in through and see all the reporting and analytics behind it too. So, you can see your your trends and things of that nature too. So that way, if, you're not needing to order as much inventory because there's a certain product that isn't selling because it's a certain time of year. Yeah, exactly. It'll go through that. Oh, no worries, Kelly. Well, thank you for asking all those questions. I will follow up with you shortly following our meeting. So definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly.
So, let's pop back into our demonstration here. So next part that we're really going to cover is the accounting side. So I know that a lot of companies are always coming to us because they have outgrown QuickBooks.
Outgrown is the perfect.
So, QuickBooks is great for what it does. It's a really good product, but it really is an accounting only solution. And I think that when you get to the point where your accounting needs to be integrated with, your inventory and your CRM, all that, right?
Everything.
It's a great place to take your business to that next level. And, the other side of it is, automating, some routine tasks there for that as well. So I know, Adam, that's kind of the side that you tend to work with a lot more because I'm that starting part. I tell people that they need Odoo, but, I think accounting is something that you could probably touch on a little bit more.
I work with the clients on it, but from an accounting, I'm definitely not an accountant. I would never be like, this, but our team really has a great understanding. It actually amazes me how well of an understanding they have for the accounting side of it with the knowledge of accounting and also with Odoo and how things need to, how things work together, journal entries, like, inventory, whatever it may be, sales and how it's all connected. So it allows you to be really flexible, making sure that it's going to be working for you, and whatever industry or however much inventory. So it is, there's obviously out of the box that works, but there's always, sometimes you might need a customization to make sure that it's going to work for you in your process.
Absolutely. And while we're on that subject of customizations too, I think that's a really great thing to cover. So one of the things that we like to make sure is that if there's something that we can provide to you that's out of the box with Odoo, we're going to go with the out of the box option 9 times out of 10.
Oh yeah.
Because, one of the things that ends up happening, and a lot of the reason that we actually have to take over a lot of jobs from other, Odoo partners, or people that go through Odoo Direct, is that they overcomplicate the customizations. And so what ends up happening is because it gets overcomplicated, they have a product that doesn't work. They've spent thousands and thousands of dollars. They're super frustrated. And then they come to us and we have to kind of reset everything. And so I think that's one of the things that we do really well is say, if there's something that we see that you'd like to have as a part of your system, but it's set for the Odoo 18 release, we say, let's hold off on that until the Odoo 18 release. That's actually going to be out of the box for Odoo 18. And we can integrate that down the road. Whereas I think a lot of folks there would make a customization. And then now Odoo 18 rolls out and it's not working, you know?
They've
So,
definitely improved the accounting these last few versions and releases, and it's been reduced the need for customization. So people are very happy with that. A lot of our clients have been, looking at the 17, 18 upgrade to make their life much easier from the accounting perspective.
yeah. And even to say, when we come to that side of it, it's not just the accounting end either. So, the customizations can come about really in any part of it.
Yeah.
I'd actually say that inventory, from what I've seen, has
inventory
probably the biggest number.
I mean, everything's been improved, but I feel like the feedback is like,
Yeah.
Especially from like versions like 10, 11, 12, 13, people shouldn't probably be on those versions, but sometimes they are, but there's a huge difference.
Absolutely. And I think that's where the growth side of it for Odoo really comes in, is because Odoo is very well focused pretty narrowly on their product. And so because they're worried about that side, and they have implementation partners that mostly handle, implementations, they're not as worried about, they're able to make those big adjustments from version to version that maybe in other ERPs you don't see.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely something to think about there too. It also will handle compliance and regulatory support. So if you need that, I know some, businesses are HIPAA related, things of that nature. So those are things that you can look at with it as well. Really from there, the other big thing that I see a lot of companies come to us, it's almost always, again, these three modules: the CRM, accounting, and inventory. And then of course, if there's manufacturing, we'll see that too.
Yeah.
But the CRM is kind of where the bread and butter, where everything gets started. And especially a lot of startups will come to us because they don't have anything where their orders are going into.
Right.
And that's kind of the starting point. So that way they can at least take orders, and at least get everything kind of started, and then process from there. I think the really cool thing with CRM is being able to go through and look at the historicals.
Yeah.
So
very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
I came from a completely different industry, and so when I first came to Confianz, the very first thing I did was like, let me look at the historicals of, what Jason has been selling. Right. Let me look at what Adam has been selling, so I can kind of see where does it move from here, right? How do I get to the point where I, am making these client sales, right? Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, I think that the note portion is really easy to find and read. So I can go through and look at the entire history of the notes, right, and it's just right there when you pull up, an opportunity in Odoo. I think I've been in other CRMs where you kind of have to dig around a little bit and you're like, where is everything?
It's not as user-friendly.
Yeah, it's definitely not as user-friendly. And, I think, I will say, certainly there are other CRMs like a Salesforce that might be a little more robust. But the benefit of this is that it's still linked to all those other programs. So exactly. It's got almost all of those same capabilities that the Salesforce would have, but it also still connects to the other portions of your business.
Right.
So that's really, really helpful in that regard. The other thing is I like that we can adjust our sales process. So if there's steps in the sale, right? Like for us, we have quite an extensive demo process, because we have to go through and show what the product does, and all of that. And, in other places, like when I worked for an internet company, for example, right, it's like, well, what speed internet do you want, right? There's not much that's needed there. So I think that it's really helpful that we can kind of go through and add the stages that are necessary for our business.
Right. It allows you to customize your stages and approach and see at a quick glance, all right, how many leads? How many are we in discovery? Where are we in the demos? Where are we with proposals? Where are we with the, future, closed one, so however your terminology too. So, yeah. Everyone has different lingo in different spaces. So
absolutely. And that kind of speaks to the malleability too of Odoo. Odoo can really be adjusted for whatever, industry that you're in. I mean, certainly there are going to be industries that have a stronger presence in Odoo, like manufacturing and things of that nature. But it really can be brought to almost any industry, especially
Yeah.
especially if you're on the smaller to medium size, I would say too.
Mhm.
Odoo is a great first start ERP for,
Right, it's a great fit.
yeah,
It's efficient and, cost friendly.
exactly. Very cost friendly, especially compared to that. Compared to our competitors. Yeah. NetSuite, if you want to spend a few $100,000, on every single year, go ahead and do something like that. But if you're wanting to spend, less than 100 grand on your implementation, and for most cases, I'd say,
Yeah,
and you're wanting, just to have your licensing fees for the years afterwards,
which are reasonable.
Super reasonable.
Odoo's a great fit.
Odoo's an awesome fit for that.
All right.
So kind of switching gears, one of the things that we tend to see a lot of is ShipStation now is more prevalent for most businesses. So especially since, most people are selling their products through Amazon, eBay, all that, any type of third party site, Etsy, things of that nature. We tend to see a lot of that as well, especially if you're in like the textile space and things like that. So, it allows you to integrate your e-commerce with Odoo.
Mhm.
So, if you have an order that's being placed, say, for example, you have your online store through Amazon, now all of your Amazon orders are integrating directly into Odoo.
Mhm.
So definitely big benefit there. On top of that, it can handle all of the, the shipping and shipping side of it as well. So like UPS, FedEx, DHL, anybody that's shipping your products pretty much has, the
You have
integration
the
with it.
access to it, and because of the ShipStation, you also get preferred rates. So you have your accounts, obviously UPS or FedEx, but there's also, it allows you to see if you're using multiple carriers to see, all right, which is the best, cheapest, fastest option out there.
Right.
So, you don't have to just use FedEx or UPS, but and then the USPS as well. So
Yeah.
it gives you options.
Absolutely.
And it's quick.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to go to USPS, you don't have to go to FedEx, you don't have to go to UPS. It's all right there in one spot.
Absolutely. And the same kind of goes for Shopify as well. So keep in mind two different products, but in very similar, spaces and everything too. So again, kind of allows you to let your e-commerce connect with your Odoo instance as well.
Just makes it seamless, efficient, and then all the systems talk to each other through Odoo.
Absolutely. So really from there, I kind of want to open it up to the Q&A side of things. If there's any other questions, and if not, we can always give you more time back to your day too. So I know there's a couple of you guys that are attending. Brian, Ralph, do you guys have any questions that have come about from on your side?
So while you're thinking or typing, implementations, a typical implementation, what's a time frame on that? That's a lot of people ask, like,
Yeah.
How quickly could I get up and running with Odoo? Do I still need to use my system? Like, basic implementation.
Yeah, so I think the answer for how long it takes to implement is really going to depend on how many backend resources we're taking over, right? So say, for example, if we have to integrate a lot of data, that's going to take that time frame and move it up.
Mhm.
We've I've seen implementations take, a couple months, and I've seen them take a year, right? So it just kind of depends on what all needs to be brought in.
Yeah, it could be done. It could be done within a month. A month is probably the quickest I've seen, but that's the most kind of out of the box kind of piece. But like you were correct about obviously you need to have that discussion and see kind of what you're running and the systems, and then figure it out from there.
Yeah. And I think, and that's a really great, great jumping off point too. I think the other side of it is, kind of understanding your business and getting that portion taken care of too. So, I think sometimes people jump onto the call with us and, thinking, this guy's going to give me a quote on the first call, right? And that's not really how we work, because we want to make sure we understand your business, right? Because everybody's a little bit different. Like, the business I was talking about earlier, they really needed somebody to kind of walk through they had a very extreme flow chart. Like it was going, 17 different directions, and there were a whole bunch of different things that happened. And, if I had quoted them a cost, on that first call, I would have been way off, So, we want it to fit well for you. And, the only way to do that is to make sure that we go in and we ask the appropriate questions.
Yeah. So it's definitely, I mean, we could throw out a number, but it's going to be a lot. It's going to be like, it could be from 5,000 to 100,000.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah. Kind of like throwing a dart on a dartboard and see where it lands,
But yeah, after those deeper dives, then we come back pretty quickly with some budgetary numbers, and then kind of figure out like, does this make sense as, or break it up into like maybe phase 1 versus a phase 2 kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Like you said, if the business is growing, you're not there yet, but you might need it in the future kind of thing.
Absolutely. I know, Adam, you work with a lot of, existing customers. What are some things that, you tend to get asked a lot? Like, are there some things that you tend to see like once it's implemented that people ask, or?
So they'll say something like, well, the thing is with Odoo, there's like 60 modules that is available. So sometimes it's just a matter of, educating them and like, did you know that this is available? Because a lot of times, one of the things like, people use DocuSign to sign, send agreements.
Yeah.
But Odoo has a module that's just like DocuSign. So like there's there's people paying $25, $30, $50, however much a month for the licenses for DocuSign, and now it's already included in Odoo.
Right.
Like there's a documents piece that allows you to keep all of your documents organized. So that the sales team is always pulling the proper proposal or the proper quote, or if you have with Kelly was saying how it has multiple brands and logos, so you can set it up so everything is it's your one-stop shop, so everything is organized there. So
absolutely,
that's part of my job is educating the clients to make sure they understand and they know what's out there, because there's a lot there and it can be overwhelming. But like Niles saying, start with exactly what you need, and then as you get more comfortable, build out to make sure that you have all the pieces in place.
Yeah, the need to haves versus the nice to haves.
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
So and we tend to see, one of the things that I will say that's really great with CRM on that same type of like the document side of it too, is that you can actually upload documents within your notes as well. So whenever I have meetings with my clients, I tend to, take notes on the side. And I have a whole series there. I'd really rather just upload that document rather than, duplicating my efforts, right? Yeah. So you can upload, documents within there too, which is really, really handy. It allows the rest of your team too. So like my developers can go through and say, oh, Niles already asked these questions. So when I go through and have a discovery session with our developers, they already know what's going on.
Right. So you could keep, and so during the discovery phase, the developers can, ping us within Odoo and say, oh, we need to follow up with this, and this.
Yeah.
So you don't even need to email it because it'll keep it within Odoo. So, so the history, the historical, so it's not just in your email inbox, it's all in Odoo. So if somebody comes new to the team, they can see everything all in one place.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things that was really nice for me coming in too, fresh, was, I was able to go through and see everything that, that everybody had kind of done before.
Yeah.
And I think it helps get your new folks up to speed a little bit better. Cause I think, if I didn't have all of that there available to me, I wouldn't be able to lead this webinar right now, so.
Well, you don't have to go into Excel or Google Drive or, like you're bouncing around all different places. So it makes it really efficient and seamless.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I will say, it looks like we didn't have any additional questions that got answered within there. It looks like we already answered a couple, and then Ralph was saying that he had no specific questions. So I guess really the end of this too, I mean, I know there was a lot of things that we kind of talked about previously, Adam. But is there anything that is like your one big piece of advice for someone that's looking at Odoo?
Uh,
I know it's a loaded question.
I, it really does fit almost any size company, almost basically any industry. And it works great out of the box, and it also works great for customizations.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, just starting that conversation and seeing like where you are and like, does it make sense to switch, to a new ERP, or, whether you're a startup or whether you've been in business for 20 years, having that one system where you can really control everything there, as opposed to having multiple systems and not really knowing exactly where it is, because you have to wait for this to catch up to that. But everything's right there.
Yeah.
All the dashboards, the reporting, it makes it really, really simple to use. So, that's why our clients have been using it for, I don't know, 10, 15, well, basically however long Odoo, some clients have been using it for that long. So,
yeah,
they're not going anywhere.
Absolutely. We've on that same product, like Anoop came over here because he had one particular client that he was working with, and then he decided that's where he came from. And that client is still with us to this day. So, still using Odoo and gone through version updates and all kinds of stuff too. So
it's a great partnership.
Yeah.
It's not just, client and vendor. It really is a partnership. And I think that's why, Confianz is with Odoo has been successful, because we really take the time to understand and learn and really care about your business and making sure that it's successful. So,
absolutely. But that really wraps up everything on our side. We do really appreciate you guys for attending today.
Thank you so much.
And as I mentioned before, we would love to have, continued communication with you as well. So if you found that this was helpful and that you want to have a further discussion about whether Odoo is a great fit for you, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm placing my email in the chat as well. So you can feel free to send me an email. And then on top of that, we do have your follow-up information, contact information as well. So we'll reach out also and provide you with a recording of the webinar as well. So again, really thank you for your time, and wish you guys the best, and hope that we'll be talking soon about getting you guys set up on Odoo.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.
Have a good one.